the Art and Industry of Business and Living podcast, discussing conscious choices around business, money, life and living, and creating a greater future for you and the planet. Welcome everybody to the Art and Industry of Business and Living. You are with your host, as you are every week, and I am still here in Prigium Beach here for 2 weeks, which is awesome. A chilly Queensland winter. Well, it's 11 degrees. That's cold for me. So, and I have a really awesome special guest here today, Mr. Gary Douglas. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's fun to be on with you. I like talking.
I like talking to you too. And we have some great conversations. And one of the conversations I wanted to have today was about contribution. And I noticed it's interesting. We have, we work in Slack and we have all these people who are, hosts and have something to do with this class that you have coming up in Venice, Italy with Dr. Dane here. And I said to them, hey, I'm going to do a podcast with Gary Douglas on contribution. Do you guys have any questions? And it was really interesting. No one wrote a question. They all just wrote these emojis, which we know how much you love emojis.
Yes.
Not. But they're excited. But what I get is that, and what I'm looking at too is, I get hardly anyone has any idea what true contribution is. So I'm wondering if you could even just give us a taste and enlightenment of how you see contribution.
Well, do you have to ask the sun to give to you, or does it just contribute?
It just contributes.
Do you have to ask the birds to sing, or do they just sing for you?
They just sing. And in Australia, they really sing.
Early in the morning.
Yes.
It's very cute because there's this amazing sense that the reality is that everything wants to contribute to us and few of us allow it.
Right.
Be happy with what you get. Don't expect anything more.
Well, it's interesting because the conversation I've had with you, over the years, I've worked with you for quite some time, and is about the difference between, give and take and gifting and receiving. And can you talk a little bit about that and how that works with contribution?
Basically, people think that, it's like, when I was a kid, if I was given a gift, then I had to sit down, write a thank you note, do all kinds of nicey stuff, address it, stamp it, put it in the mailbox, and I used to hate it. Now, I refuse to make any of my kids do that. One of my kids does it all on her own. Any guess who?
Grace.
Yeah. But she considers that people, when they give her something, they're doing a contribution to her, not that they're giving her something because they have to, or because they need to, or because they're going to get something. They're doing it because they're contributing to her. It's a very different point of view. And it's like most of us have never been taught that people give to you because they want to. We've been taught that you give gifts because you're required on this day to give it. It's Christmas, you have to give a gift. It's Easter, you have to give a gift. It's, birthday, you have to give a gift. And I personally hated birthdays because when I was a kid, I got all kinds of great things like, models of boats and shit that I had to glue together and paint and put decals on and all that shit. And it was horrible. I hated it. So I didn't like my birthdays. So one year after I got my first divorce, I had some friends and I had them come over for dinner. I cooked a really nice dinner and I, had a cake and did all that kind of stuff. And they went, what's this for? What's this about? Why are you doing this? I said, because I just wanted to thank you for being in my life.
Yeah.
And they go, why now? I said, well, it's my birthday and I didn't want to celebrate my birthday because I hate celebrating my birthday. But I thought, what a great thing to do on my birthday is to give something to somebody else. I still feel that way.
Me too. So, which to me is the generosity of spirit. And it was interesting. Someone asked me a question the other day on an interview and said, they've noticed that people who have money have a generosity, like the people they knew in their life, like the majority of them had a generosity of spirit. And they asked me to sort of like put it into an answer. And I was like, but I'm not answering that. And I was like, generosity of spirit doesn't have to be about money. It can be about, standing up in your seat and allowing someone else to sit down, or being aware of someone and what future it can create by the action you take today. So what I get to with, like, say, generosity of spirit, receiving, contribution, you cannot conclude any of it. There is no end result.
Well, that's the real generosity of spirit, when you never conclude anything.
So the majority of people that I speak to, especially at the beginning of them doing access classes, etc., is, and by the way, if you're just listening to this, Gary Douglas is the founder of Access Consciousness. Brilliant, amazing man. Absolutely adore him. He's changed my entire life.
Sorry.
No, I'm not. Sometimes it gets incredibly uncomfortable, but then it always turns out greater. So I'm very grateful. But one of the things I see, shows up with people is they think they have to do it all on their own. So what are some of the ways that people can start to get out of that?
Well, it's like, first of all, you never ask for help unless you have a problem.
Right.
So it's like, so much of the time we're always trying to find the problem we have to solve, rather than what can actually create or contribute to our lives here. And so for me, it's like, I don't look for what the problem is. I look what the contribution might be if I was willing to receive it. You have to be in that place where you're willing to receive in order to get the gift or have the gift given to you. The contribution that people are is quite amazing.
So let's talk a little bit about receiving as well, because I get that they are hand in hand, correct?
Yes.
So when I first met you, I remember I got my bars run and I jumped off the table because I was crying, and I was like, okay, enough. This is not a good look. I got to go. And I don't know if you remember this. You walked around the corner. I'd met you once and you looked at me and you went, do I have to give you a hug? And I went, no, yes, no, I don't know. And you said to me, would you like to come outside and chat? And I was like, no, I've got to get back to work. And then I was like, yes, I don't know. And I ended up going outside with you. And you asked me a whole bunch of questions and I don't even remember what they were. It was the general theme of, you were getting me to have a look at the people that I had surrounded myself by, and you were talking about receiving. And I remember getting so cranky because I was like, what do you mean receiving? I thought I was here to give. I didn't know I was allowed to receive. And you were the first person, it's going to make me cry, you're the first person who actually gave me some permission. Not that I needed permission, but you allowed me to know that it was okay to receive, which was a really different concept for me. And it's been that for the last 18 years, the big R word still comes in. Even yesterday, you and I had a chat about something and I realized that I wasn't willing to receive everything that you were gifting. It was like, damn. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to this. We need to talk. I need to get through this. So can I look at it again? It's a bit easier now, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's not for you. So what's some of the stuff that you can talk about, like with receiving, and how people can start to receive more?
What is it you desire in your life that you won't let yourself have?
And everything at that is times a godzillion. Let's try and uncreate it. Right.
All nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. I can be your potter.
Yes, you can. So do you get that people don't actually are willing to ask for what they desire?
Well, it's like most people do not even know what they desire. It's not a matter that they don't ask for it. They don't even know they have it or can have it.
So it's interesting because I had a conversation with you a little while ago, and you were talking about, the property that we're creating in Costa Rica, El Lugar. And you said you came upon all of these different sinks, right? Sinks for all the casas. And so you wanted to get these sinks, and you said most people don't want to do that. They'll just go out and buy, the same sink. And I looked at it and I went, no, it's that they don't even have the concept of finding all that many sinks that are beautiful and would contribute to all the casas having their own look, their own energy, their own. Yeah, but most people wouldn't even look at that. It's like they would just go, the easy thing is find a sink.
Everything right now is about creating the sameness. mean, even people try to dress the same. I got a kick out of my youngest son because at one point he was going, I'm an individual. I will not wear those tennis shoes because I'm an individual. I need these kind of tennis shoes. And I looked across the street and there was a kid wearing exactly the same shorts, exactly the same shirt, exactly the same tennis shoes, exactly the same socks, and exactly the same baseball cap turned around backwards like he did. And I said, this is, it's like, I said, so you don't dress like that guy? He goes, no, I'm an individual. I went, okay, fine. But I really get that people have this weird ass point of view that they're an individual even though they're dressing like everybody else. They still think somehow they're an individual. If you truly could receive you, you might see how unique you are instead of how you're an individual. Individual is how you stand alone and how you must always do everything alone.
So then how much is vulnerability required with all of that?
All of it. You have to be vulnerable with yourself and be willing to let yourself know exactly what's true for you. What is true for me? What do I want to create?
I've been asking that for probably the last 6 weeks, that, I go through my OCD of my favorite questions and what would I truly like to create as my life? So let's talk about contribution with money. Like, how is contribution with money? How can you be a contribution with money and money be a contribution to you?
Well, I mean, if you looked at everything and saw everything as a contribution, would things be different?
Yes.
See, it's like I look at the rain as a contribution. I look at the sun as a contribution. I look at the wind as a contribution. I look at everything as being a contribution to me.
So not about going to because I notice in Australia as well, like it's beautiful days. It's a bit chilly. It's cold for me, not for someone from Canada. And it's beautiful, sunny, and people go, oh, isn't it beautiful? And then when it rains, they go, oh, it's raining. So any place that you have that judgment of what is being created at that very moment, is that when you stop contribution?
Yep.
So
what is the contribution you really would like to have?
The contribution to receive everything that's available that I have not yet even acknowledged.
Or imagined. It's like the thing is, true consciousness is the ability to receive everything without a judgment and have no point of view about anything. And it's like, it's like when we were at the ranch and it's like, I said, God, I'd love to have some Frisian horses so we could cross them with the Costa Ricans.
Whoops.
That's a silly horse. And, 2 months later, Cody comes across these horses that are loose on the road and he catches them up, and then we end up getting a whole ranch full of horses. And it's like I thought we had maybe 30 horses, and it turned out that it was 77 horses, which was quite a few. And it's like, and we've gotten rid of about 40 of them, a little over 40 of them. Moved them on to other homes, moved them on to other people, sold them. It's like, it's pretty amazing to see these. These poor horses were so skinny that it was a nightmare trying to get them fattened up.
Oh, and they had a zillion burrs on them. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say a zillion.
Oh, no.
Burrs on them. They were not treated well at all. And they're so beautiful and stunning.
God, I knew something, because what I did is I said, get some olive oil and put it on their tails. And it would come out. And they did. It worked.
Okay, so you have, you're amazing. You know everything about everything. Like, if there's something that I don't know how to get like a spot out or something like that, it's like, Gary, and you go, oh, just get this and do this. But I get that that's also your ability and your willingness to receive so much that you allow everything to contribute to you.
Well, I do. And the other thing is, I realize that if you ask the question, what begins to happen is that they begin, it's like people begin to tell you things. So well, how do I deal with this? And so doing and asking the question, how do I deal with this? Things began to show up in my life that showed me how to deal with them. I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but it showed up.
So this is how I'm going to, so this is the willingness to to choose vulnerability, so to literally like let all your barriers down, be willing to be you. It's like ask questions so that there's a whole lot of possibilities show up, and you can choose and you can receive and then allow. I mean, we talk about question, choice, possibility, and contribution. And it's interesting because contribution is quite often the energy that I get that people don't know what that is. They think it's a one-way street, but it's not a one-way street.
Well, they think contribution is where it comes at you or comes to you. But it's not always about receiving. It's also about the ability for it to be a two-way street or a organic change in the universe in order to allow you to be everything you are.
Oh, I love that. An organic change in the universe. Yeah. So you're actually receiving from you're receiving, knowing, being receiving from every molecule.
Everything is receiving from you as well. Weird.
Such a sense of relaxation with that. And that's the thing I've noticed about you, Gary, and, you know, being your friend and working with you for so many years is you get so much stuff done and you have such a sense of relaxation about you and things just show up. So you got to ask for it.
It's amazing. You ask and you shall receive is a reality.
Yes.
Not a pretense.
So one of the things I've been looking at, this gave myself some home play, is to like write down like in all these different areas. And you guys, if you're listening to this, you can do this as well. Like whether it's money, business, you know, sex, relationships, family, parenting, any of those top, you know, subjects that you think you have a problem with. I was writing down like what it is that I'd actually like to ask for in these areas. Because I also realized, I mean, I spoke to you at Christmas time, you know, my money flow sort of just went, and you said, well, ever since you broke up with Brennan, you didn't have anything to create for. And I was like, God, you're right. Because I just created. So I'm asking, okay, so what would I like to show up? It's like, you know, what else can I contribute to all these things and what else can contribute to me? So do you have anything to add to that home play that I gave myself?
Well, it's like, what else can I ask for today? What else can I receive and what can I be? And if you are asking for it and you're receiving it and you're being it, then all things begin to become easier.
Easier.
Yeah. And it's not about it all being perfect. People have this point of view that my life is perfect. Yes, I woke up this morning and I was bored. Now, why was I bored?
I don't know. Tell me.
I was bored because from my point of view, it's like I had nothing going on.
Right.
I even got up this morning at 7 o'clock and went off to a garage sale.
Yep.
Just because I could.
Yep.
Not because I had to, not because I wanted to, but because I could.
So, and then, did you buy stuff?
Along came Jones. And then I came home and Vincent Mattis was here. He came to learn how to ride a horse so he could add that to his
repertoire.
His resume for
acting.
For acting, yes, so he could get more roles. And he came, and it's like I was talking to him, and I was trying to get him to recognize his amazing capacity to do stuff. He's a remarkably talented actor. And it's like, it's so amazing to see this guy creating stuff the way he does. And it's like, and he's still 16 years old. So he didn't want to get up and go to the garage sale. He didn't want to get up. When we went out to the ranch and we were doing horses, he wouldn't get up unless we went in and tried to wake him up 3 times, And it's like my point of, I finally said to him, I said, look, if you ever want to come here and do horses again, you can. But this is the deal. I am not going to wake you up to make you go ride horses. If you want to do this, you have to make some choices, dude. Because my point of view in life, if you want anything, you get up and you make it happen. You don't expect anybody to take care of you.
I like that.
Yeah. And it's like, but I was sitting there feeling like I was losing it.
What do you mean by losing it?
Well, because it's like I'm sitting there going, okay, I should just go wake the kid up. I mean, that would be a kinder thing to do. And I looked at him and I went, would that be kinder? And I went, actually not. Because in truth, if I get him up and I do all that stuff for him, then the end result is he gets to have a different point of view in the end about how he doesn't have to do anything. People will take care of him.
Which is something that you have taught me a lot. It's like, there's certain people that I did take care of a lot, and to actually allow them to choose and allow them to still available for them, but also allow them to be able to choose and allow them to take some action of what it is to create their life.
Allow them to fail.
Yeah, allow them to fail. Allow them to totally fuck everything up. And that's contribution as well.
Yep, it sure is.
So you said that you were bored because you didn't have anything,
I felt like I had nothing to do. I mean, going to this garage sale is like seeing the tiny lives that all these people have, and they're going in to do that. It's like I'm going, oh, gross. If this is all I had to do, I would kill myself. And yet there are people that's their whole life. They go to garage sales every weekend to find things they can buy that are things they can afford in order to prove that they have a life. I'm never trying to prove I have a life.
So what is it that you ask for with your life?
What I ask for in my life is that I get the choices that allow me to create and generate more in the world and change the world. I'm more interested in how we change the world than I am in how we live in the world.
So when you have that occurring in your life and have that as a contribution, like facilitating classes or doing a session or talking to people, etc., that's when you're not bored?
Yep, that's when I'm not bored. I mean, it was interesting because I put on the thread for that we...
Me, Brennan, and Jane.
Yes, I'm bored.
Yes. That's what I woke up to. I'm bored.
He contacted me when he got home from Swan Lake.
As one does in Moscow, Russia.
Yes, and he said, oh my God, I did this, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and I loved it. He said, I was sitting there crying over Swan Lake.
Yeah.
Said, yeah. And he said, I felt like I was lusting after the guys. I said, yeah, because they're using their bodies in ways that you should be able to use yours and can't.
Yeah.
And I said, nobody goes for what they really want. They always go for some kind of other thing where they think that's enough. They should be okay about it. And he told me about how his father, his sisters were taking ballet when he was a little guy. And he wanted to take ballet too. And his father said, you'll never do that. That's not manly. That's a poof. And just made him wrong.
Yeah, there's a photo of him in his sister's, ballet, little tutu and little ballet shoes. And he looks so happy and stuff. And then his father apparently came in and just ripped him apart.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's the way most of it works for most people. It's like they don't see that you love this and want to do it. Okay, so try it. It's like I was always willing to let my kids try. I got a big kick out of Grace because she would want to try it, but she'd need to have private lessons before she could take group lessons.
She had to know how to do it before she was in the group.
Know how to do it before she chose to do it.
Right. So, and I heard that Brendan asked you if you could, he wanted to learn how to dance.
Yeah.
That you would teach him.
I said, yes, I will teach you how to dance because I know how to do it well.
You certainly do, Mr. Gary Douglas. So, and that level of contribution, and I get like the people that we have now surrounded ourselves by, and the caring and the kindness and the generosity of spirit, and also the allowance is a big piece of contribution. Because what I'm really grateful for is the allowance that you've had with me over the years of everything that I've chosen or not chosen, as the case may be. And you've still been there. So thank you for the contribution you've been to me, Mr. Gary Douglas, and to thousands of people around the world. Oh my God.
I like being there, and I like being there for people, and I like helping them and seeing what can be different.
I know.
It's amazing to me because it's like I watch people step up daily, become more than they've ever been. And each time they do, they want to be more than they ever thought they could be.
Yeah. My life is changing rapidly, and I'm having such a great time of being in a constant state of question and creation and really notice when I'm not choosing that it's like, oh, it's like things get really, heavy and solid, and then asking more questions. Okay, so because everything's available, there's so much possible.
So welcome to the concentration camp of consciousness.
Concentration camp of consciousness. I like it. How does it get any better than that? So if you're listening to this and if you would like something even further, there's many classes that you can go to on accessconsciousness.com. And the biggest thing I always recommend is get your bars run. That's I don't know how people...
I get my bars run, and it's like I had my bars run because I couldn't stand myself. I was being so cranky.
It's a good way to stop it. And then just even getting your bars run when you're not cranky is also great. So yeah, I got mine ran yesterday for a couple of hours, which was so awesome because my head was just like banging. I was like, oh my God. So, but this Dane here and Gary Douglas will be doing a class literally just called Contribution, and it's from the 4th to the 6th of October. It's live streamed. There's some prerequisites you have to have done. I think it's a COP, Choice of Possibilities class. And if you're interested in that, check it out on accessconsciousness.com, and we'll put a link with this as well, with this podcast. And so you can jump on anywhere in the world, but come to Venice because, oh my goodness, if you haven't been to Venice, that place will be a contribution to you.
Oh, Venice is an amazing contribution.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I met a man that runs an antique shop there.
Yep. Oh, Bastianello.
Bastianello, yes. Signore Arte de Bastianello. Best antiques anywhere in the world. And one of the things he said is like they have a law in Italy that if you own a house in Venice, you're not allowed to sell the furniture. You can sell the knickknacks, but not the furniture.
Huh. Why is that?
Because basically all the houses were furnished with beautiful pieces of art and stuff to match the artwork that was in the house.
Huh.
And he told me about this one house. He says, someday I hope I can get you in. In the servants' quarters, the entire room was done by just this famous Italian painter from the 15th century.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, really? For the servants. That's not even for the grand people to live in.
Well, it's interesting too, because the space that you create also is a massive contribution. Like Steve and Chatissa Bowman, who are friends of ours who have been on my podcast before, they came up here the other day and they haven't been to my house in a while. And Steve walks into my office and just went, oh my God, I love your office. And then he walks in there like 30 minutes later and went, I think I'm in love with your office. But it's so beautiful. It's like the paintings, and they're all from the Antique Guild.
Nothing worse than buying things from the friggin' Antique Guild.
I know. Got some beautiful paintings, beautiful area, like the table, the chair, the coffee table, all of it. It's just stunning. And the carpet, everything. I walk in and it's like, oh, yes. It's way more, it has a sense of peace and elegance, which is a contribution to me. And the creativity, all of it.
Well, it's a contribution to everybody, but most people are not willing to see that beauty is a contribution. Beautiful things, beautiful people, beautiful food. It's all a contribution to us in one form or another. And it's like when you have that, it's sort of like you just open up to a different world. You are in a different world.
Yeah. And that's what we'd like to invite you to. Because I remember a long time ago, not a long time ago, but a year ago, you did a call for a lot of people on Access, and it was basically you were asking for contribution. And it was interesting to see the majority of the people took you asking for contribution to make it about money. And it was nothing about money.
It was not about money because it's like I was doing fine with money. I just didn't have energetically enough to take care of my body.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that was when I began to create the point of view. It was literally about beginning death. And it's how I created the shingles and stuff that I've done. But I'm so grateful for the shingles because what it required of me is to look at things from a different place. Because, it's like I tried all the things that come from the outside that are supposed to heal you, and it didn't. And I, tried what the doctor said, and I tried what the pharmacist said, and I tried what everybody gave me, and none of it worked. And finally I went, okay, something's wrong here. I got to do something different. And I finally went, okay, what can I be or do different here? And I started looking at that. And from that, I have created a whole new reality with my body. And I am allowing it to mutate and becoming a different person.
And I want to thank you and your body so much, because the same has occurred for me, which is interesting because I've been through some pain in the last couple of months. So if we allow pain to be a contribution to us as well, I've never been more present with my body in the entirety of this lifetime. And my body is changing as well. So it's like being the mutant species that we be. Thank you. I love that. It's like being grateful for everything, because so many people negate something or go to, oh, that's wrong, that's terrible. Oh, you had a bit of bad luck.
What's wrong is going to give you what's right.
Say that one more time.
What's wrong never gives you what's right. You cannot change the wrong to make something right. You have to choose what works for you to make something work for you. And that's what I learned. I mean, one of the most interesting things is, one of the things we learned is that pain is the energy that you experience when you think you cannot change something. You get locked in that pain, and you lock that pain into your body. If you take that pain and release it to the insanity you think you cannot change, all kinds of things change.
And that process, that's been helping me a lot.
Well, last night, it's like last night I went, okay, you know what? This Jeffrey Epstein, he needs to suffer. I hope he goes to jail and experiences, a big guy with a big thing, doing to him what he did to all these young girls. And last night he committed suicide.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I contributed to that. The other thing I've been doing is contributing all this pain to the political systems across the earth. And it's like all kinds of interesting things are happening politically. In this country, people are beginning to look at what's going on with
Trump,
which is amazing.
Well, let's hope there's enough people that are beginning to look at it that 2020 Trump doesn't actually get in.
That would be nice.
That would be really nice.
Yes.
Yeah. What would it take to have, all, quote unquote, leaders of the world functioning from being stewards of the earth and being statesmen?
That would be amazing. I would love it.
We would have a planet that would thrive.
Yes. And the other thing I've been doing is giving the pain to the insanity of no communion.
Tell me more about that.
Well, it's like people do not take care of the earth. They do not make themselves steward of the earth. They're always trying to see how they can do something better.
Yeah.
How they can save the planet. What if you actually created a place where you contributed to the earth in such a way that it could heal itself and change? Which is really what I would like to see happen. Me
too. I was watching on Netflix. It's not like the nicest show to watch, but it's very interesting. Chernobyl, the whole series on it, and it's like 4 or 5 shows or something like that. And how much the Russian, there's one line in the TV series, and they say, if we admit what we're doing, we'll be humiliated, and we're a country that never likes to be humiliated. Yeah. So they hid so much of what's going on. But that whole area, like at the end of it, they write up where it's at right now. And the whole area, they went up there, and it's still like at a huge radioactive rate. Like there's like throughout the show, like where they left their clothes, etc. And they say it's going to take 20,000 years before it's actually.
But that may not be quite correct, because I saw another show.
That's what I think I'm asking you.
It's like, because they did another show where they showed that the wolves and the guys that are the natural part, that they have increased. The deer have increased. The populations have grown.
In those areas in Russia and Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Have they tested any of them?
they haven't done that. But it's like, my question is, what are they not seeing? Nature has ways of doing things that we don't understand.
That's why I think I brought it up, because when we're talking about contribution, and it's quite horrifying what Russia created and what they did, and how they would not ask for help, especially to America, because they didn't want to be looked at as weak. And yet a couple of men, if they hadn't done what they had done, the whole of Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, probably East Germany, like all those areas would have been destroyed. It was amazing. And it's like, so what can we contribute to the earth now? And so acknowledging what the earth is actually creating and generating.
Well, what's the earth capable of that we're not acknowledging?
And everything at that is times a godzillion. Writing on good and bad, pock and puddle, and shorts, boys and meons. That's what I love about access consciousness, and the difference in the energy that we be and that we can be and that we can choose. That creates a completely different
I don't have the conclusions about any of it. I just want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It truly is next.
Yeah. What can we be today?
Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you, Gary Douglas. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nope. Just go out and have fun.
Well, you said, that was one of the first things I heard you say was, well, two things. I remember you saying, you're not as fucked up as you think I am. I did a 4-day class with you, 17, 18 years ago. I didn't remember a word you said. I had a manual. I knew that I felt entirely different. And I wrote down on my manual, I am not as fucked up as I think I am. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but this is great. And the second thing that you said to me too was, what if the purpose of life was to have fun? I was like, holy shit, who is this man who actually, talks about just having fun? Lunatic. Well, I must be a lunatic too, because you can't shake me off.
I know. And I like it. I'm glad.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Gary. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.